Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Ruach Kadash. Brothers, I know many of you have heard the news of the Supreme Court blocking the vaccine mandate that was administered by Sleepy Joe. The first scripture I want to bring out is Proverbs 21, verse 1. The heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and he turned it any way he wills. Let's get into the video.
We begin tonight with the Supreme Court blocking President Biden's vaccine mandate for large companies. The vote 6-3, the conservative justices against it. They did allow for the rules to move forward for 17 million healthcare workers at federally funded hospitals and facilities in this country. The Supreme Court decision coming late today, the conservative majority saying OSHA does not have the authority to enforce a vaccine or testing rule for large companies. This affects some 80 million employees across the country. Their own companies and bosses will now make that decision. Many companies, of course, already have. As I mentioned, they did allow for a separate mandate to move forward for millions of healthcare workers at those federally funded sites. Tonight, President Biden's response saying in part that justices blocked what he called common sense life-saving requirements. Tonight, the president is now calling on the states and employers to do the right thing. Our senior White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, leading us off.
Okay, and as many of you brothers already know, and those of us who are in the knowledge, we already know. You know, as I mentioned previously, we're looking at kings here. Joe Biden is a king in a sense. The Supreme Court is a king in a sense, right? In this land at this particular time, and just a bit of a backdrop to add to this story. You know, I posted a previous video about what I was dealing with on my job. You know, in the particular career field that I've been in as well. Being on my job approximately 20 years, being someone in the high management status, I was faced also with the same decision. You know, either get vaccinated or submit a religious or medical accommodation. And I did submit that accommodation, and it was granted. I mean, when I tell you that I gave all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, I was very grateful, I was very thankful. But something else I was doing, I was also praying for the other beloved brothers and sisters in this same situation. And that's what we have to keep in mind, brothers and sisters, that the Lord is in control. He's the master chess player. Okay, let's look at another example, right? During the time of Ezra, let me get right to the point. Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And it reads, "For 7 days they kept the feast of unleavened bread with joy, because the Lord had made them joyful, and turned the heart of the king of Assyria toward them, and strengthened their hands in the work on the house of the God of Israel." So we got to remember, brothers and sisters, that the Most High is in control, okay? We got to perpetually, you know, send up prayers for our other brothers and sisters that was in this situation. And those prayers, now that we look at it in hindsight, were granted, because I was not only praying for myself, I was also praying for the other brothers and sisters that were affected by this mandate. Let's get back into the video.
Tonight, in a blow to the White House, the Supreme Court blocking the Biden administration from enforcing a vaccine and testing mandate for large businesses. The policy, which would have impacted more than 80 million employees, required they get vaccinated or wear masks and undergo weekly testing. The conservative justices argued the agency overseeing the mandate, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also known as OSHA, does not have the authority to regulate public health.
OSHA has not traditionally mandated other vaccines for other hazards that could pose grave risks, some might say. The flu kills people every year. Other grave diseases do too.
Today, the court ruling 6-3, with liberal justices Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan dissenting. Writing in the face of a still raging pandemic, this court tells the agency charged with protecting worker safety that it may not do so in all the workplaces needed. Many Republicans tonight are celebrating the court's decision to halt the mandate, but the president says he is disappointed that the Supreme Court has chosen to block common-sense, life-saving requirements for employees at large businesses that were grounded squarely in both science and the law. But in a victory for the White House, the court is allowing a vaccine mandate for workers at federally funded healthcare facilities to continue, a move which impacts more than 17 million workers. The president tonight hailing that decision, saying it will save lives, and that it is now on states and employers to do the right thing, pointing to United Airlines, which prior to putting in place their own vaccine mandate was seeing an average of one employee dying every week from COVID. The CEO stating, "We've now gone 8 straight weeks with 0 COVID-related deaths among our vaccinated employees."
They say that after their own mandate at United Airlines. Let's bring in Mary Bruce live at the White House tonight. And Mary, you said it there. Tonight, the president now trying to place this on the states and on individual employers, saying the Supreme Court's decision, quote, does not stop me from using my voice as president to advocate for employers. He said to do the right thing to protect Americans' health and the economy.
David, the White House is keeping up this fight, and they do believe that despite the court's ruling that this mandate for large businesses encouraged millions of Americans to be vaccinated and drove large companies like United to take action on their own. And tonight, the president is urging other large businesses to step up as well. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off at the White House.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
That's enough of that. Let's get back into the scriptures, right? Another scripture, several other scriptures that we have to look at, or we can glean from in this situation as well, brothers, is that during the time of Nehemiah, and as we read through the story of Nehemiah, and I'm gonna paraphrase here, you have to remember when first Nehemiah prayed before he prayed to Yahweh Shem Yahushua that King Artaxerxes would have mercy upon him so he can go back to Jerusalem. Because remember, Nehemiah wanted to get back to Jerusalem to build up his city. As Nehemiah mentioned, our city was in ruins. So the king actually granted Nehemiah leave, but what Nehemiah did prior to getting that leave, if you read through the story, Nehemiah prayed, and the Lord gave his answer through the king. We got to remember there's several instances. Joseph come to mind when Joseph was in Egypt. There's several instances where Israelites were under rulership, just like now, and we would pray before we would get an answer from the Lord for mercy. And this is a prime example, because I'm sure I wasn't the only brother that was praying for other brothers and sisters that was in this situation, that the Lord showed mercy. I know he showed it to me, and I'm sure he showed it to other brothers and sisters, because as Proverbs tells us, the heart of the king, king being the president, the governor, the Supreme Court, is in the hands of the Lord. Let's get a few more scriptures here. Bear with me, brothers. Let's look at what was the other one that came to mind? Let's look at Exodus chapter. We can see it in Exodus chapter 4, verse 21. And it reads, "The Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, just like us being in Egypt now, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the works which I have put in your power. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go." Again, that's an example of Lord hardening Pharaoh's heart. When we jump to Exodus chapter 7, verse 3 through 14, the Most High says it again. He said, "I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that I may multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt." See, the Most High hardened Joe Biden's heart. You got to remember, man, a lot of people, I don't know about you guys or what you saw on your end with your families, a lot of our families succumbed to that pressure. They were vaccinated. They took the cocktail. They took the boost. They felt as though their back was up against the wall. But that was those of us who operated through faith. We just said, "Hey, man, we're going to stand firm. We're going to not take it, and we're just going to stand on our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that he's going to come through for us." Look at how he came through for the children of Israel, our ancestors, and freed them from bondage, freed them from the hand of Pharaoh. Imagine seeing that wonder when they walked through the Red Sea. I'm sure it was amazing, and this is a modern day miracle. Many brothers and sisters want to keep their jobs or now they have the opportunity, to, if they were fired wrongfully, obviously, they can find work in other potential employers. Let's get another free precept. We stop talking so much. Let's go to Revelations. Again, this goes to show you that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is in control. Revelations chapter 17, verse 17. But I'll start up at verse 16. And the 10 horns and the beast that you saw will hate the prostitute. They will leave her desolate and naked, and will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Verse 17. For God has put it into their minds. The scripture actually read into their heart. But those of us in the truth, we know your heart means your mind, right? To carry out his purpose by uniting to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of Yahweh are fulfilled. So again, brothers, that's something we got to, Proverbs 21:1. Keep it in your mind, for the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, right? He turn it any way he wills. This is an extreme blessing for brothers and sisters that are in the faith, that are in the truth, that were sending up prayers. And I pray that you brothers count this all joy, and keep sending up prayers, because this is partially, it partially wasn't blocked for workers of the medical field that was receiving Medicare or Medicaid, but still, call halal, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Shalom.